Hola, buenas tardes. Today we are going to start the review of Spanish 1. This video series is probably going to be about 3 videos. We're not going to go through, we're not going to be able to get through all of the information today, but we'll get through some of it. So let's go ahead and get started. So one of the first things that we learned in Spanish 1 is that in Spanish, every noun has a grammatical gender. And so this has nothing to do with sexuality or actual like physical gender. This is just strictly a grammatical gender. We can tell what gender the noun is by looking at the final letter or letters. For the most part, words that end in L-O-N-E-R or S are generally masculine. There's going to be exceptions to every rule in Spanish. There's always going to be a few exceptions, but this is just a general rule. Words that end in B, I-O-N, Z, or A are generally feminine. So, for example, if it ends in an N, it's generally masculine unless it's I-O-N, and in that case, that makes it feminine. Anytime it is I-O-N, there will be an accent on that O. Okay, like I said, there's no exception, or there's always exceptions to these rules, so make sure that you memorize the gender of the word. And when we are looking at our vocab, we can tell the gender of the word by that L or law that's placed before it. Okay, definite articles, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. That's how we say the. And our indefinite articles, which translate as a, an, or some. And then adjectives, which are our describing words. They all have to match the noun in number and in gender. So it's really important that we can tell which gender that noun is. That way we know how to make everything else match. Okay. So it's a skill that we have to do. Okay, so our definite articles. So we have this, or our articles, all of them. So we have this table here. Our definite articles, so the different ways to say the, la, los, and las. So masculine singular, feminine singular, masculine plural, feminine plural. And then our indefinite articles are una, unos, and unas. The only difference between these, so a definite article is more specific than an indefinite article. For example, if I'm telling my son, like, give me the pencil, like he's trying to write on the walls, which is not, has happened before. I'm wanting a specific pencil. I want the one that he has. Where if I just say, oh, I need a pencil, necesito un lápiz, I don't necessarily care which pencil it is. I just need one. Okay. You'll notice that un and una, they both look like the number uno. So that's another way to remember it. Okay. To make things plural, if it ends in a vowel, you just add S. Estudiante becomes estudiantes. If it ends in a consonant, then you add ES, such as balón, a ball. Balones, balls. Okay. If it ends in a Z, like lápiz, you have to change the Z to a C and then add ES because the letter combination ZE does not exist in Spanish. So anytime you would have a ZE, change the Z to a C. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at, or there's a little bit of practice in here. I don't think I have it in your notes, but if you just do it on a whiteboard or a piece of scrap paper, put the correct definite article with it. The last one is rana. I don't know if you guys can see that, ranas. And then, so like write out your definite articles, your el, la, los, or las to correspond with these, and then check your work when you're done. Like, so hit pause on the video, write them out, then hit play and check your work. Okay. Number 1, las bicicletas, the bicycle, el libro, the book, la novela, the novel, la computadora, the computer, los hombres, the men, el violín, the violin, el lápiz, this is one. It doesn't follow the rule. Pencil's masculine. Pencil. Los puentes, the bridges. La hoja, the leaf. And las ranas, the frogs. And then we'll do the same thing with your indefinite articles. So look at the list, hit pause, put your indefinite articles, then hit play and check it. Okay. Number 1, un piano, a piano, unas ballenas, some whales, unos perros, some dogs, una isla, an island, un gato, a cat, unas jirafas, some giraffes, una ciudad, a city, un país, a country, un partido, a match or a game, and una fiesta, a party. Okay, the next thing that we're going to look at, and I'm sorry that this is a little bit cut off on here. Let me check my time, make sure I'm good on time. It's not telling me how long I've recorded. Okay, yep, I'm still good. I have a 15-minute limit on here. Okay, our subject pronouns are super, super important, okay? If you do not know your subject pronouns chart, I suggest making flashcards and memorizing them as soon as possible, okay? So to say I, it is yo, okay? To say you, if we're talking to someone that we are familiar with and that is a single person, we use tu. And it has to have an accent mark because tu without the accent mark means your. It belongs to tu. Okay? You formal and singular is usted. Okay, so this is someone that you would call by their last name. Tu is someone that you would call by their first name. It's a peer, someone that you know really well, your parents, even though you don't call them by their first name, you still know them really well. So you would call them tu. Versus like Dr. Farnsworth or Mr. Warvig, you would use usted with them. Okay, someone that at the grocery store, like the cashier, you would use usted with them because you don't know them. He is L with an accent, and again, you have to have that accent mark on there because otherwise it means the, and the can't do things, but he can. For she, it's ella, and remember that double L is pronounced as a Y. Okay. I know if you had Senora Derner last year, she probably said Asia, and made it with a J, and that's just a regional thing. A lot of countries on the west coast of South America do that. In Spain and in Mexico, it's pronounced more like a Y. In Argentina, that double L is pronounced more like a J. It's just kind of like people in London speak a little bit differently than we do in the States, and people in New Zealand speak differently than we do. It's just a regional thing. Okay, so this chart and the way that this is set up is going to be how we set up all of our verb charts. So it will directly apply. It's the same chart. Okay, to say we, it's nosotros. And you use the masculine plural anytime you have a mixed group. So it doesn't matter if I have like 47 females and 1 male, we're going to use nosotros. We would only use nosotras if we are all females. Okay? Y'all in Spain. And this is the this is the informal plural you. We don't really have a plural you in English, and so most of the time I will write this as y'all. If you put tu todos, that is a dead giveaway that you are using an online translator. Okay, so this is vosotros, and again with vosotros, if I'm speaking to you all and I know that you all are female, that's the only time I can use vosotras. If I'm speaking to you as a group and there are males and females, I'm going to use vosotros, okay? We don't use vosotros a lot. Vosotros is really only used in Spain. But we can't learn about Spanish language without talking about what they do in Spain where the language originated, okay? When I want a vosotros answer, if I have it written out and you see like SP or Spain, that tells you that I want vosotros. If it just says y'all, I don't care if you use vosotros or ustedes, okay? But if it says SP or Spain, that is what I want. I want the vosotros form, okay? The next you or y'all is ustedes, and ustedes is the plural of usted, okay? It is the formal plural you, okay? Ustedes is used throughout Latin America. In Latin America, they don't use vosotros. They only use ustedes. You can use ustedes in Spain. It is used. It's just more formal. Okay? And then ellos is they, and ellas is they if we know for a fact that they are all female. Okay? It is super duper important that you know your subject pronouns. Okay? So tell me which subject pronoun you would use for each person or group. Hit pause, write out your answers on your notes page, hit play, and check your work. Number 1, for Carlos, I would use L. For Paco y yo, I would use nosotros. Whenever you see yo on a quiz or something, like always do a quick little check and make sure that it's not somebody y yo. Because if it's Paco y yo, that makes we. That's not just me. Okay? Ana y Carlota, that would be ellas. Mis padres, that would be ellos. Even though I have a parent that is female, I'm still going to use ellos because it's a mixed group. Tu y tu hermana, You could use vosotros. You could also use ustedes if I'm talking to you, like you and your sister. It could be vosotras if you're a female, so then it would be like you female, and your sister who's also female. If you're talking to el profesor, you would use usted, mis amigos y yo, nosotros. Susana y Lilian, that would be ellas. Esteban would be él, and los estudiantes would be ellos. So even though estudiantes by itself can be a mixed group, since we have this los, we're going to go with ellos. Okay. The subject pronouns are super important because they tell us which verb form to use. We don't always use a subject pronoun when we're talking. A lot of our verb forms, we can tell who the subject is based on the ending of the verb, but it's good to know your subject pronouns because that tells you which verb form to use. Like that is your starting point. Okay, so we're going to talk about present tense. We are going to get into the preterite tense, which is the first past tense in second semester. So it'll be good. I think I am going to stop here for this video since I only have 15 minutes and I'm going to start the next one. Have a great day.